For over 20 years, I was an atheist. I grew up without a God, wasn't taught about a God, never knew a God, never experienced a God. So I never pursued a God. I grew up believing and seeing Christianity around me, viewing it as a crutch for the weak, something that those who feared death or feared life needed to calm their fears. Just as a crutch for life, really. Those who couldn't really deal with life needed something greater, something bigger, something more than themselves to believe in. It wasn't for me at all. It was after watching a TV show one night at the age of 25 that I said my first prayer ever. I was as true and honest and genuine as I could be. And I said, God, if you're real, if you're really real, then show up right now in my house, in my living room, and show me. I figured that if God was real and wanted me to know him like people said, then if I challenged him or asked him, I figured he would show up. But nothing happened. And I was convinced more than ever that there was no God. I was embarrassed for even trying that. But I'll tell you what, after the next few weeks went by, people hitting me up everywhere, telling me, come to our Bible study, come to our church. People knocking on my door at night, hey, we're having a Bible study upstairs. God was pursuing me and I didn't even know it. A few weeks later, I had an experience that changed my life forever. After a night out at the club with my girlfriend, I was preparing some food or something. She turned on the TV and some Christian station was on. And in a matter of minutes, from what she heard, God visited her and filled her heart with his Holy Spirit. And she stood up from that experience just a couple minutes. And she began to tell me about the love of God. She began to tell me that we need to get our lives right with God. He loves us and wants a relationship. And she started to tell me about Jesus Christ. And for the first time ever, it began to penetrate me. And I began to feel this weight come over me, this love, this presence of God. I didn't know at the time exactly what it was, but I felt this peace flood my heart. I felt this weight of love. I felt safety. I felt safe all of a sudden. And I began to cry, and I began crying and crying and crying. And for an hour or two, I cried and cried and cried as she told me about the love of God, as she was receiving it for herself. And she also was crying and touched by God. And after an hour or two of that experience with God, I knew that God had answered that prayer just a month earlier. He didn't have to answer my arrogant prayer to show up. He doesn't have to prove himself to any one of us. But he's so gracious that wherever you are, in whatever situation, whatever doubt, if you just, where you are, open the door, crack for him, and say, if you're real, come on in. He'll come in like a flood. My name is Scott, and I have a testimony of Jesus Christ, from atheist to believer.